What's up everyone, CaRai coming at you with another video, and in today's video I'm going to leave you with 4 tips, that's right, 4 tips that you can use to really help yourself prepare for connections. Now, the reason why this is going to be good is because we recently found out that Storm 4, we pretty much have concrete confirmation thanks to Gloku getting his hands on a game at the showcase, that this game is pretty near to Storm 4. It basically, for those of you that haven't seen the anime, there's this character named Code, and Code is pretty strong, but he's said to be even stronger once he has his limiters removed. So, in a way, Connections is like Storm 4 getting its limiters removed, so to speak. With that being said, the first tip is get familiar with Switch. Now, before I really get into this, I just want to say none of these tips are meant to be applied in an advanced way. I understand if, look, you get on a game maybe once a week, you play maybe 2 hours. These tips are all really meant to be applied in a very beginner-friendly way. It's just really meant to keep you sharp and on your toes and in good shape even going into Connections. So getting familiar with Switch is basically just, hey, if you do a counter, instead of sitting there, being vulnerable, just switch. If you do a grab and miss it, switch to make yourself safe. If you do a jutsu and it's not quite hitting, instead of canceling with chakra, switch and make yourself safe. Just start getting acclimated with it, because I play so many people that even when they should switch, like they're put in a situation where their only option is switch, they don't switch. And you should have a very fundamental understanding of Switch. And what this tip is good for is really gaining that fundamental understanding, because once you have a fundamental understanding of Switch, then at any point in time, you can basically decide to elevate that fundamental understanding into an intermediate understanding, into an advanced understanding, and you can do that anytime. And it'll be a lot easier because you have a fundamental understanding of Switch. So yeah, get familiar with Switch. 2, get comfortable with movement. So I play a lot of players who have a very linear way of playing defense. A lot of times they sit in guard and they wait for you to dash them. And when you dash them, all they're wanting you to do is hit their guard with a dash. So during that bounce back, they can jump back and then rinse repeat. However, that does not work against someone who is adept with their offense, because all they're going to do is get in slowly but surely, and they're going to put a ton of pressure on your guard. They're going to do a combo on your guard. They're either going to, gel the combo into another combo so that they can break your guard, or they're just going to put a lot of pressure. They're going to put you in a very uncomfortable situation. So you want to get comfortable with movement in general. You want to get comfortable with jumping from the left and to the right, double jumping. You want to get comfortable with just moving. You don't want to stay in one spot. This match right here is a good example of playing someone who's just being very linear with their movement. They just kind of want to stay in one spot. They want me to give them a bunch of free dashes and things like that. So be aware of your spacing, get comfortable with movement, jumping back and forth, things of that nature. And that'll serve you extremely well, because you don't want to end up like this guy right here, because he's in a very bad spot. Like, he pretty much lost this game, as you can see. No subs against Donzo. And yeah, I think this is pretty much over, because that's pretty much it. So anyways, get comfortable with movement. You don't want to be stiff. It creates a lot of openings for your opponent. Side note, this team I'm using right here is called Ran Off on the Plug, because basically you do Obito's tilt, drop Gaara, drop Darui, and you just run in. And this team is funny because Obito's tilt, you can't hit him while he's running. So imagine a fully invincible dash is coming at you that you can't stop, and then Darude and Gaara are right behind you. Or, one of these assists are there, and you can't do anything about it. You just gotta kind of take the situation. Now, this team would be much more powerful if I use Switch, but honestly, I just like being lazy and doing the tilt, dropping my supports, and, and just kind of not really caring and just mashing. But, back to the video. Third tip is get familiar with 6 to 9 characters. So, 6 to 9 characters is 2 to 3 teams. Now, the reason why I say this is because sometimes I see some people saying, it's hard for me to have fun. When I get online, I'm battling a bunch of tryhards, whatever the case may be. Well, one thing you can do to start having a lot more fun is to kind of lock in on 6 to 9 characters and just get really comfortable with those characters. Get really comfortable with their ultimate cancels if they have any. Get really comfortable with their jutsus. Develop some own combos of your own and things of that nature. Because if you get comfortable with your characters, if you like your characters, one, getting comfortable with them is going to make it easier to like your characters, because you're gonna be playing the character and you're gonna feel like, man, this character is so fun because they do what I need them to do. But in reality, it's you. You're making the character function the way it's functioning because you're comfortable with the character. You're familiar with their cancel points. You're familiar with, any of their ultimate cancels. You're familiar with, the specific properties of their jutsus, if it has unique properties. You're familiar with a lot of different things, and that's just going to enhance your fun tenfold. And so, get familiar with 6 to 9 characters. Doesn't mean you can't use other characters, but it just means that, in this game there's a preset feature. So your 6 to 9 characters, maybe you should make, if you decide to do 2 teams, you should make make those into presets. That way you can just kind of go to them anytime, and you don't have to worry about, picking them out of the character select screen or anything like that. So, yeah. And for the fourth tip is basically develop your execution. And the best way to do that is just to go to training mode. The training mode in Storm 4 is very good. It is very good for an anime, for a 3D arena anime fighting game. It's actually very good. And this is coming from a guy who's played NRS training modes and Street Fighter training modes. Street Fighter and NRS games training modes are very good. Blaze Blues training mode is very good. Very good in standard training modes, but this is a very good training mode. It really lets you do whatever you want and really practice. It doesn't have some of the advanced stuff like, being able to see how big a hitbox is, but it's still very good for what it's worth. So go into training mode and just kind of practice these things, just kind of counter, switch, move around, switch, practice your cancel points, practice executing, X, practice executing Y, put it on infinite chakra and practice some stuff. And that's going to help you a lot. So I have an interesting story, but back in Storm 2, when I was, let me think. Oh yeah, back in Storm 2 when I was really trying to get better, I got really frustrated. And I went to train. Well, I didn't go to training mode because in Storm 2 they didn't have a training mode. So we all got it good now, but back in Storm 2 there was no training mode. It was just plug in another controller, go to Versus, and that was how that worked. So I basically, with all I believe 42 characters in a game, got acclimated with their movesets, and I got good at executing the very basic things with these characters and basic strategies. And so, what that did was that gave me a very consistent fundamental baseline of execution. And that execution has followed me from Storm 2 all the way till now. Even though there's some things I'm messing up in this game, for the most part, execution has never been a problem for me, because I developed a I just developed, I developed a sense of just practicing it. And you can too. And the best way to do that is just to go in train mode and just kind of regurgitate these things and find your cancel points, practice combo into ultimates. Now, I'm not saying you gotta, learn all the characters, because there's 100 plus characters in this game? No way am I saying that, but just, after you select your 2 to 3 teams, go to train mode and just really practice these things. And it's gonna make a huge difference. So anyways, those are my 4 tips for the game. Honestly, if you keep these close, yeah, you know how we do. We got to end on a rage quit, By now, that's the trend, ending in rage quits. Anyways, gonna wrap up here. The thing is that if you practice these things, you're gonna be good going into connections. If the game is really playing very similar to Storm 4, you're gonna be pretty solid right off the bat. And again, these tips are meant to be applied in a very beginner-friendly way. You don't have to be super advanced at all. It's just a matter of getting comfortable with these things. And so, yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all I have for you. At some point, I'm going to make, guides on these things before the game comes out. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, if you enjoyed the video, thanks for watching, thanks for staying to the end, and maybe if you have something to add in the description, and it'll help someone else who's looking to get better or looking to get back into the game. CaRai out.